Hello there, it's Patricia from Pinky's World, and this week I'm making a few wee gift bags for upcoming birthdays. They'll be here, I have a load of birthdays in April, so I wanted to have these ready and all. So these are the girly sort of ones. Can't remember the name of the paper. Something eclectic from Stampin' Up. The colours that I've gone with are Fresh Freesia, but I'm going to go with Bumblebee the next time. So I've used, I say 6 inches of paper by 9.5 inches. The lid is made with, we use these. Not everybody will have these, but it's really simple to cut yourself a piece of card and then just either cut a handle out of it or punch whatever you have. Use whatever you have in your stash. So these were really old. They're stitched nested label dies, which I have used to cut out this. This one I cut in the smaller size. Don't know what I was thinking, but there you go. So I used the larger one, which I prefer. Any matching stuff out of your stash to make a wee flowers on. I used the daisy punch for them. I have a wee bit of tulle there to just make it more tactile, and I punched a wee butterfly. So I'm just going to show you quickly how to make them. They're really good size for gift cards, money and a wee bar of chocolate, and you could write to and from in the back if you wanted. Entirely up to you, but pretty easy. I made these ones thank you ones, but I really should have went with birthday or hello or something, and it would do any occasion. So but we'll go with thank you. I have it out and that'll do, and I can change it at a later date. So get yourself a piece of paper, whichever one you want to use. As I say, I'm going with this one. Just make sure if it's directional that you cut it in half with the pattern running down. So you want your 6-inch deep piece to have the pattern run down and the rest across. So that should be right. So you want to score it at 1/2 inch. I keep forgetting to write down these measurements. 1/2 inch, and then 4 inches, 5 inches, and then 8.5 inches. Turn that around and just score it at 1 inch. Make sure now your bottom here, otherwise it'll be upside down. That's all the scoring you need. So we'll just do a quick wee cut. You want to cut up on the 1 inch fold there, up to that point. You have a 1 inch score line here. Cut up to this one. Ooh, I got the heavy shakes here. And this one, that's your 1 inch part that you scored, and then the end, it can be chopped off. You don't need it. So just corner it in to keep it nice and tidy. And then just do your burnishing. Just make sure, look, that's not lining up, and I don't want that wee bit sticking out, so make sure it lines up. And the next one, again, keep just shuffling it about until you're happy. And the same here. It's a really simple bag. I'm sure you've all had a crack at one of these at some stage. But for using up your stash, it is great. You get 2 out of a 12x12 sheet. Your paper measures, I don't even know if I told you that. Your paper measures 9.5 inch wide by 6 inch deep. So now I want to fold that over, and that is going to stick to this. So put a bit of glue there. Or use your tape, whatever you use yourself. I like the glue. Who doesn't like to get sticky? So fold that over, press it down. And just work your way through all the seams now that's stuck, so that you know everything is lined up and behaving itself. So now your bottom, you want to fold in your 2 pieces. I forgot to burnish that, didn't I? So decide which one's your front and which is your back. My fold is going that way, so this is going to be my front. So that shall be your last fold down. This one shall fold, and then this one goes over the top of it, and that'll hold them all nicely. So I'm putting a wee dab of glue on the flaps. Folding down this one Make sure everything's nice and square, and then we're going to put a bit of glue on this one. Make sure you burnish those, I totally forgot. More haste, less speed, huh? Fold them down. And then you can go in there with a longer thing so that you can press the bottom and give it a good firm take. Now, you can squeeze those together and pinch them if you like. If you don't do it. So that is your basic bag made. And now you want to get the handles going. So for the handle, I have cut out, as I said, the largest size. Felt sticky there. Which would be for you to cut out a piece yourself. Whoops. I'm going to go in inches because that's what I like to work in. It's 2 5/8 wide, so you could afford to go 2 6/8 if you wanted, which is 2 3/4, and the length is say 5 inches. So if you want to cut yourself a piece of card 2 3/4 by 5 inches, and then just cut yourself a fancy bottom or slotted in, whatever you have. If you have a wee die that gives you a fancy edge, use it, or just round it off, or just cut it straight across, entirely up to yourself. But you don't need a die, even though I've used them. So what we want to do with this piece now is fold it in half. I definitely glue on it somewhere. I'm just going to fold it. If you score it, you may not get the center piece, and you really want it to be nice and centered. So just make sure you're happy. Just going to shuffle it about till I am happy, and then I'm going to burnish it. Now, stick it in your cutter. It's a much easier way. If you have a good cutter that'll measure across that width, then just cut it in half. That way, I want the 2 of these to stay together. I actually missed that entirely. That was a good shot, wasn't it? I want to keep them together if I can, as much as possible. Get yourself, I'm using the wee punch, what do you call it? No name on it. Just wrecked the house there. It's this wee punch. I can't remember the name of it. Some kind of label punch, right? So I punched myself out a piece in scrap. I'm now going to stick that of a tiny wee bit of not too sticky. Really keep these together. It doesn't matter for starting off, but when you're putting them through, you'll want them. So you want to leave yourself a wee bit here and the same at both sides if you can. Just shuffle it about until you're happy. It doesn't have to be perfect, like, but you want it to look nice. And just make sure that takes. If you're happy, put these 2 together again. And put them through as one piece. I'm struggling to make that go. I don't know how I got it in the last time because I didn't struggle. Maybe the stickies weren't off. So I'm going to use a piece of sticky tipped card. Put a wee bit of glue in the end of this wee strip just, and I stuck it to my jumper to take most of the stickiness off. And we're just going to stick that there. And we're going to fade this in. And this is kind of sticking up, which is annoying, but try and fade it in without catching it. And just fade it into that one that you punched lines up. And then just punch through them all. And that way you get 2 pieces that are exactly the same. Well, it's going to fall too. So take that off very gently so you don't mess up anything. And then we want to stick with the V down, and make sure if you have used a die that you put the nice stitched side coming up the ways, and that will stick there. I'm going to slide a block inside that wee bag to give me a bit of support here, and I'm going to put a bit of glue just fractionally above the mark of the V there, so I'm not sticking the whole thing. And then Your handle part goes to the top, the V sticks to the bag, but just try and get it central for both. Still not enough support there. If you do that, it sort of gives you a wee idea. I'm going to get straight if I can. So you're just going to weave it down, sticking this part to the bag. Just make sure it takes and you're happy with it. And then you want to do the same for the other side. Make sure you've got the nice end sticking up. So I'm putting the glue on the least fancy side. And we're going to put that in there and try and line it up with the other one. So I can slide that over into position. So they both look more or less the same. Just line it up with your back piece. Oh, I did it again. I forgot to round my corners off. It is nice if you round them, and this might go through. If I'm lucky. Yep. I think it just gives them a nice wee finish if you do that. There's also a wee line day in that if you fancied putting a line of stitch in there. I'm not that bothered. So that is our front of our bag there. And now we want to decorate it up a bit. Ugh. So I've cut myself an inch wide piece of just scrap white card, and I've run it through with the smallest die out of that. Again, if you haven't got a small die or this set of dies, cut yourself an inch by about 2.5, 2 3/4, and cut a tail at the bottom so that you're matching it up. We're going to actually trim that down once I stamp. I think I'm going to go and get a happy birthday. Hold on a wee sec. Right, I found a wee sending love, which will cover a multitude instead of happy birthday, so it'll be for any occasion really, wouldn't it? So I'm inking it up with Bumblebee to match the card, which I didn't do the last time, but you don't have to, you can go with black. And you want to line your thing with the point that you made, if you did make one, right to the end of it, and try and get it going straight. There, nice. So I'm going to put that back into my cutter, because obviously I want to tidy up these wee bits and pieces. I know it's an inch, so I'm going to go into 7/8. Line it up. If I can see, that light is dancing off my cutter. I want that to be straight-ish if I can. And a wee bit. And just chop it and then turn it round. You now want to go in at 3/4 of an inch, which is a nice straight line there. So just line the other side up at 3/4 of an inch and chop that down. And that just did not work at all. Sure didn't. So I'm going back in. Why did that not work on me? I don't know what it did there. So I'm bringing that in anyway, another wee bit. Just going to have to eyeball it this time. But try and do that the next time. And it keeps your arrow straight. My arrow is not straight. I'm going to cut that. That kind of ruined everything on me there. Do you know something? I'm going to cut another piece. To hell with it. Right, I'm going to go in to an inch. I don't want to tell you to do something and it's not working for me. Go an inch. Chop it down to about 2 3/4. Get your rubbish out of the way. Now, where is that wee? I'm going to line this up so that it's sort of central. Maybe that's where I went wrong. I mightn't have got it in the centre at all. So I want equal bits at this side and this side. And hopefully straight. I'm going to run that through the cutter. Right, I can see that I am slightly off. This one is slightly longer. So I'm going to trim that one down now. Turn it over and put it in at 7/8. Ugh, My head's in your road, I apologise, but I cannot see with the light bouncing on this. So let's see how that looks. I'll go in now to 7.5 is going to be too much, so I'm going to go in 1 and see if I can get that lined up straight. Now that looks a bit better, doesn't it? So hopefully that's cured. Get my stamp out again. Maybe easier not even using a dye, do you know that? But I want to use my stash, that's what I'm aiming for here. Right, so sending love into the centre-ish, because that big L, I'm going to come down a wee bit. Okay, now this is going to sit here underneath the flower, so we need to punch out our wee flower. And have we got some yellow card? What did I do with you? Oh, here you are. So we want, that's not going to be enough, you want a piece of your card that will fit whatever punch, flower, punch, dye, whatever you're using. Get a piece that fits. And get yourself another piece of white card and punch a white one. Daisies are just handy and they're great from springtime on, aren't they? For any occasion. We'll put a bit of glue on the white, layer the yellow one on top. And I hooked through and got these, I think they're maybe the match for it. Hopefully. So that takes, we have a wee tiny, what did I do with you? That's what failed probably. Right, I have a wee tiny bit of toe here. It's about, I'd say it's about 6 inches long. I'm actually going to stretch it out another wee bit on both sides. Just stretch it ever so slightly. I'm going to slide that in, put it to the 3 mark. Did I put it to the 3 mark? I'm going to go to the 4 mark just to be a devil. Make a slightly bigger bow. And just tie it good and tight. So that gives a nice wee bow for the centre of your flower. I'm going to use Yoo-Hoo glue, so I'm going to use this because it really, it's the what do we call that, tomboy glue doesn't take quick enough for material. It eventually will hold it if you can sit all day, but I really can't. So I'm curling these leaves. I'm going to bend them to give this flower a wee bit of shape, hopefully. I'm going to pop a wee bit of glue in the centre of the flower and stick my bow in place right into that centre. Hope it takes. The Yoo-Hoo is pretty good at taking up quick. So I'm going to try and pop one of these, and just to make it extra secure, I'm going to give it a wee dab of the Yoo-Hoo for extra security. And hold in place. Ah, still not taking. You're tricky, maybe needs another wee bit. Come on. It's the stickiness on my finger, I think. Try a different finger. Please take. It's moving about a bit, hasn't it? Right, hopefully it's going to sit. Get these out of my road. So, we shall curl that out that way, curl that one out that way. That's the backs of them. So in the center here, I want to put a big dimensional of some sort. And I want to add a bit of glue to either side and over the tails. Make sure you're at the front of your box, and we're going to put that about there and press. Of course I put glue. You don't want glue in the back of that, you don't. So one part of that to sit. Just to give it a wee raised bump. And then we're going to add this with a dimensional. And that should hold a wee bar of chocolate or a wee card. My leaves are not sitting up very happily. Sure they're not. Need another wee curve, or work them with your embossing tool maybe. We're just going to sit that over there and hope that that settles down into its wee position. And then you want to trim off your bow, or you can cut it up into stripes and sort of kind of curly it up. The tool is very good for doing stuff like that. I'm just going to point them off, if it lets me. There, that is it. No, it's not it, because we want to add a wee butterfly, don't we? So, excuse me. So I'm going to check this off right away. This is the double butterfly, dual butterfly you called it, I think. And it stays. So you can get a wee yellow one so that it all will match. Just chop that out. Bend it up so you have a wee bit to add your glue to. And stick it about there. And I'm just going to use a pen to add some antenna. And we can curl the leaves up a wee bit when that's stuck for you. So there we go, finally got there. So use dies or don't use dies. Either way, this will work for you. It's a quick and easy bag. It uses up lots of your sheets. You'll get 4 out of 2 sheets, and just keep them. They're not taking up much room. Just have them dangling there, ready to go, and use a sentiment that'll suit your occasion. So, hope that's of any use to you, and hopefully catch us again soon. Thanks for watching now. Bye.